CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, the founder of CIO News and the host for today's session. This is an exclusive interview around Voice of CIO with Mr. Suresh Vijayaraghavan, the Chief Technology Officer at THG Publishing Limited, which is part of Hindu Group. Mr. Suresh has 30 plus years of global experience in cross functional areas, including strategic planning, IT project management, systems design, implementation, IT infrastructure setup, management, IT portfolio management, IT governance, and working in cross cultural global environments as well. He's worked with various brands in the past 30 years, and it'd be really great, Mr. Suresh, to have this conversation. So, thank you so much for coming on CIO News platform.
It's also my privilege to be on this platform today.
Excellent. Sir, I wanted to begin, by putting across my first question is in digital transformation. It's a very, very, abused word, but I would want to use it to talk about how has it changed to the newspaper industry. What does the digital transformation means to the newspaper industry today?
Yeah, I think the most used and the most misused word today is digital transformation. If you ask me, right?
Yeah.
So many people use this terminology to mean many things, right from digitizing internally to having a data-driven environment. Everything is now today called digital transformation.
Right.
But when I look at the newspaper industry as a whole, right? So we had gone through several transformations in the past. As an industry, we have brought in, if I go back 20, 30 years when the news collection itself was using teleprinters.
Right.
And then we had modems that started working at 50 bits per second, 50 baud we used to tell. And from manual page making to computerized page making, and the whole news collection strategy and technologies changed as the internet came in. But what happens in the last 5 years or 8 years compared to all those different transformations happened today is, in all our previous transformations, the product did not change. We were still giving the newspaper to the subscriber.
Correct.
But now, the channel with which we interface with the subscriber has undergone dramatical change. So more than the newspaper, we are talking about data on the websites, mobile apps, and the whole way we deliver news content to the subscriber has changed. So this is the biggest transformation this industry has seen, and it is very new to India in the last 5 to 8 years because it has happened in the West about 10-15 years back.
Right.
We are catching up on that today. So when I mean digital transformation to the newspaper industry, I'm talking about the channel with which we interface with the subscriber. That is changing. That is a transformation, and that has lots of impact internally also. So for someone who has been traditionally making content to be published on the newspaper, right? Now we have different avenues of doing that. So for me, this is transformation internally.
Correct. Absolutely. I think that's where even CIO News, right? We are a digital media company, and we don't have any newspaper as such. We publish all our content up on our website itself, right? Great. So, what challenges are newspaper publishers facing to ensure a frictionless user experience, and how can they overcome this challenge?
Yeah. See, today, if you see discoverability of the relevant content amidst all the clutter that is there is the biggest challenge that we have.
So true.
So you get news in various forms, right? From news coming on your WhatsApp group to Facebook pages to 24/7 news channels there, right? So how do we give the relevant content to our subscribers? That is the biggest challenge that we have. And second challenge that we have is the content format, because not all content are suitable for every format. I cannot give a video news when that could be put as a short, as a one paragraph text, right? So which format is right for which type of content, and ensuring that we deliver the content in the right format to the audience is another challenge that we are facing. And today with so much of fiction running around, right? How do we ensure that we are getting the facts across? Because I feel journalism is all about ensuring that we give the right facts back to the readers, right? So
Right.
how do we do that? And then implementing an integrated technology ecosystem, right from content creation to publishing. And
Yeah.
after publishing also, analysis is something that has to happen across all phases of this, from the content creation phase all the way to the subscriber part. How do we analyze what is happening?
Correct.
And last, as I said, first, how do we reach the audience on their channel of choice? So
Right.
these are all the various challenges that today a publisher faces, and if we are able to address them in a cohesive manner, right, then I guess to a lot extent friction amongst the readers can be reduced. Because I'm not touching upon those friction that actually we generally speak about, right? How easy is it for me to subscribe, and whether I
Yeah.
can do a one-click subscription. I think that
Yeah.
friction is a different aspect of it. But when I look at what we do as content creators, I think these are the biggest friction that we have to overcome.
Absolutely. And I think even to the matter when we talk about LinkedIn, right? I mean, there's so much up on LinkedIn. It is so very difficult to uh, make sure there is relevant content up on these platforms as well. So, very rightly put, sir. And sir, how can newspaper publishers build a data-driven strategy that would reimagine the skills, technology, and the types of data necessary to drive revenues?
If you ask us, as I said, our transformation today, where it has an impact on exactly how we interact or interface with the subscribers. So our data strategy should be across content, readers, and subscriptions. So
Right.
because subscriptions is where we get the revenue and that's where we survive. But it has to start from content first. So what type of content we create that is being consumed by people. So are we ensuring that we are giving content that is actually being consumed? That
Correct.
there's no point in having 500 articles published, but only 10 articles being read, or might be some articles are not even seen by anybody, right?
Absolutely.
That is across the board. All the publishers have this problem. So our data should start from content
Yeah.
to understand what happens around content that we publish. Then it
Yeah.
should involve readers. So what
Yeah.
actually readers do on our site? So what type of if I start segmenting them, so which segment is interested in what type of content that they want to read? And
Correct.
of course, end of the day, everything is about top lines and bottom lines, correct? So
Right.
we need to have data around subscriptions, how the subscription patterns are evolving, what is working, what is not working, who is
Right.
willing to subscribe, and whether are we able to get a propensity modeling that can help us. So this way, data has to be across 360 degrees. It has to be there. And in this transformation phase, right, lots of experiments are being conducted.
Yeah.
Experiments from, I would say that even people start doing A/B testing on the title, on the heading, whether this
Super.
heading is read more or this heading is read more, right? But
Yeah.
experiments has to instrument for data, because there's
Right.
no point in conducting an experiment and then doing some qualitative analysis. Okay, how many people feel that this experiment is successful? It shouldn't be that way, right? It should be data-driven, quantitative, which means we have to instrument the experiments itself from a data standpoint. So
Correct.
what is that I want to analyze when I do this experiment, and do I have enough data points planned well in advance while the experiment is being conducted? So
Right.
so data has to be a strategy that is grounded everywhere. But end of the day, collecting data alone is not important. We should also have the means to analyze that. Otherwise, it becomes like a news clutter, a clutter of data which nobody
So
understands.
true. Yeah. So true. So true.
Hmm.
Sir, my next question is how can audience data help newspaper publishers in improving overall reader engagement and increase direct paying relationships with readers?
Yeah. As a technology person, I would say one thing that is very good in digital aspect is that you can collect lots of data compared to
Correct.
the print where unless you do a survey and go and ask people which article you are reading and then collect the data back, here data can be collected in real time, right? So first thing is we need to understand who our readers are. So if you look at my audience information, I would first understand their demography. So who actually comes and reads us across the board, and how do they consume our content, right? Whether, of course, whoever is consuming it on a physical mode, we'll have to do a survey or something to find, but it's worth trying taking that also. How do they consume?
Yeah.
Whether they consume physically, because we know that somebody who is 40, 50 years old today, except for a small set of percentages, they tend to read the newspapers physically. But if you
True.
say a young audience, they would like to see it on their mobile phone. So how do they reach, and what type of content and which format they consume? Say probably somebody interested in sports, they may want to see the information coming as a video rather than reading a long format article. So they would want to just while they're traveling on the train, just put their headphones and listen to that video news, right? So who is a reader and what type of content they consume and which format they consume the content. This is something very critical that we need to understand. Also, time of day relationship to demography. So what demographics is actually trying to say, for example, housewives. So probably they will start looking at the news after 11, 12 in the morning after they have completed their morning household activities, right? So and then similarly, school-going children or working people might be they are consuming more while they're traveling to office. So that type of information, time of day relationship to demographic and content that we need to understand, and use all this about data to segment and create appropriate content and target them appropriately. I think if all these things are put together in the data platform that we build, and I think we can actually help in engaging the readers more with us. And end of the day, people pay us for our content, right?
Yeah.
Of course, content is available everywhere, but why do they come for the Hindu specifically? Because they want to know what Hindu is telling about something. Or I remember during my young days, right? People used to say, "Hey, this has come in the Hindu," which means it has to be true. So that is what we should be doing, but we should use this data gathering techniques and the corresponding underlying technology to help us deliver those content appropriately.
So my question, this is for us. So where does technology leaders, wish to read content around technology, and at what time? This is for us to be, ready.
See, basically, as today, content is getting more and more digital today,
Yeah.
and the format of content also is is so. We call this as multimedia storytelling. That means
Yeah.
you create content not just that as text alone, right? Content
Yeah.
can have text, it can have interactive graphics, it can have video, it can have a
Correct.
podcast. So when you look at everything as a multimedia storytelling format, then you touch upon all aspects of content, and most probably, that is something that will appeal to a wide variety of demographics, because might be I scroll fast and only read the text. I don't listen to video.
Yeah.
I don't listen to podcast. I still get the gist of the content.
Yeah.
Or I have time. I go and look in and listen to the video, which is say 5 minutes, 10 minutes to understand
Right.
in depth about it. Or I
Right.
just go through now, come back later and say, okay, this is something I read in the morning, but I want to listen to the audio and video later in the evening. So I can bookmark and
Correct.
come back and do that. So I think multimedia storytelling as a concept, if you take and you build your technology platform around that, the ability to create and deliver that multimedia story to the consumers, probably that is would be the winning formula.
Perfect. This really helps. Thank you so much. So my next question is, what are the functional changes and challenges that the newspaper publishers have experienced in the digital era?
One, this ecosystem is one that is rapidly evolving.
Yeah.
It is something that and a country like India, where we started to have mobile phones when we did not have landlines, right? We
Yeah.
remember those days you have to apply and wait for 10 years to get a landline. But now
Landline. Yeah.
just walk across and get one of the reasons why mobile phone became so rapidly proliferated internally, because non-availability of the landlines.
Yeah.
So not having an advanced infrastructure earlier was actually a blessing in disguise for us, because we could adopt these things very fast. Unlike in US where or Europe, where they had an established infrastructure and the returns on the infrastructure yet to become. So they were going slow on the newer technology. I'm talking about 20 years back, how things happened, right? So for us, technology today it comes to the globe, it comes to India also. Or sometimes it comes to India first.
Yeah.
That's how things are turning around at this point in time. So this rapidly changing technology landscape compared to the print media, right? Digital media offers lots of scope. As we just discussed, the multimedia storytelling
Yeah.
is one format that actually, both from a creator standpoint and from a consumer standpoint. And if you've looked at news today is 24/7, right? You
Correct.
can keep publishing as the event happens, and most of this news is for free. I just
Correct.
need to have a television cable license. I get almost like 50 news channels telling everything in different
Correct.
languages, right? So with this challenge, when we talk about doing a multimedia storytelling, first we see there's a cultural change required in a print. See, we are 143-year-old organization.
Yeah.
And we are primarily print centric. Even today, print media is the largest revenue generator for us. So the whole content creators community is oriented towards print, their thought process, right? So that the biggest challenge was to actually have a cultural change to make them understand, or in fact, the training as we speak is happening across the board within the organization. People are trained on how to do multimedia storytelling. That's the key challenge to because technology is something that you take 6 months to implement. It is ready, but content creation is not that like that. That content creation has to be in your genes. Only then you can actually create that content. And people who are very good in writing a news article, long format news article, and getting their talent out in the multimedia format requires lots of effort to train them and help them with. We have to teach them on how to even create a video using the video generation tool. That implementing the tool is the simplest thing. That's the biggest challenge we have. And this whole digital transformation has impacted all aspects of our from news gathering to creation and publishing, right? Every aspect. So every touch point within the organization where there is a scope, we had to touch. We had to have a cultural shift. We have to have a mindset shift. So that is the biggest challenge. So across people, process, and technology, everything has changed.
Absolutely.
Or undergoing a change.
Absolutely. So my one last question, what initiatives are newspaper publisher taking to overcome these challenges and adapt to these functional changes now?
So one is obviously implementing the complete technology framework that can actually enable us with this multimedia storytelling. So we had to change the whole print-centric technology setup to a digital-first model. So that itself was a chap. It took us about a year and a half to two to actually get all this rolled up within the organization. So that now we have the ability to create stories in a digital-first mode in a multimedia format, whichever way they want actually, right? That's one thing. And second thing is delivering that content to the end users. One is creation, second thing is delivering. So as we speak, our websites have been completely revamped to deliver multimedia content, and our mobile apps are undergoing major architectural changes to adopt to this new way of delivering content to the end users. So that is from a technology side that we are doing that. Parallelly, as I said, no, data has to be instrumented. We have to instrument everything to provide data. So while we planned for this whole technology revamp, we ensured that the seed information from each activity is also being captured. So that I can realize right from content creation, how much content we are creating to how the content is being consumed and who is consuming it, how they are consuming it. So we are generating these data points that actually starts feeding information to our analytics platforms. So people can actually analyze and understand what is working and what is not working. And this is across content, readers, and subscription. So we can understand what is happening on the content front. We can understand what is happening on the readers front, what they are doing, how they are reading, and as well as how the whole subscription landscape is working for us. That's something that we have done. And as I said, this cultural change within the organization, right? We have initiated lots of programs internally. One of the programs that is actually very active for the last 1 year is we provide what we call as Mobile Journalism Mojo Awards for articles that has performed well. There's a panel of jury internally that they select and they award. It's a weekly activity that we do. So that has created lots of interest among the content creators to ensure that they actually come out as a winner in this Mojo Awards. And that sort of motivation for people to come on board and adapt these new technologies of content creation and providing that. And end of the day, what all we have to do to be seen separately amidst this clutter, right? That we have to do everything. Because that is the if we do everything else and we are part of the clutter, it does not make any sense. So that's where the brand actually comes into picture. So we have to leverage the brand value to see that we are seen independently within the clutter. So that's what we are attempting to do, and we are in the process of doing that now.
Sir, excellent. I think great conversation. Sir, I have one or two questions. I'm in Hindu group. Like I said, it's a brand. It does not need any kind of introduction. But if you can give some statistics, what does the content creator team look like in numbers? In Hindu group.
So I think because we have 4 major products, right? The Hindu business line, which is both are dailies, and we have Frontline and Sportstar, which are fortnightlies. And each of them have their own editorial team, right? I think if out of the thing, I think we should have between 700 to 1,000 editorial staff fully to take care of this. I might be 10-20% here and there. Wavering. I'm not in spite of being a technology person, I'm not a numbers person. So if you ask me, if you ask me how many ID people are there with you, I may not actually know correctly.
No, but this makes sense. I think I'm pretty sure. Like it's been like what, like you said, 140 plus years group company. I'm sure it's huge, and it's so fascinating to hear numbers like these. And so, when it comes to the readership, right? What's the readership across the whole group approximately?
About if you talk to on the digital thing, I think it should be somewhere between 30 to 40 million.
Okay. And this readership is...
I'm talking about totally... if I get a call after this session is published from a CEO and say you have given wrong information, I will not be surprised. As I said, no, I'm very poor in looking
That's
at numbers and
perfectly
stuff.
fine, right? That's perfectly fine. I think...
So with that caveat, I'm telling I'm talking about all the products put together, total.
Okay, excellent. I think... very well, sir, and very well given candid responses. I think, yes, this industry has seen a complete transformation to what it was, decade ago to what it is now. It is totally transformed. So excellent. Thank you so much for taking out that time and sharing with us. It was a learning for me as well, from this background. So it is very inspiring to hear your story of how you've seen this transformation, how you're doing the transformation, what does the legacy look like. So thank you so much. And it was a great conversation.
Thank you, Kushbu. Thank you for having me on this interview today. It's my privilege.
Thank you, sir.